Hello YouTube. Hi there. So this is another video. It's Friday again, and Friday, October 18th, and it's 4:20 p.m. and I am going to be painting a short session today. So a short session would be pretty much, let me see if the phone camera is well done, well centered. There we go. So a short session for me is about 2 hours maybe of painting. I don't like to paint less than that because it requires a lot of preparation to start painting, right? I have to set up my paint, which I already do right here, in order, and get my oil ready and get my apron on to avoid getting my Bucks shirt covered in paint, which is the basketball team from Milwaukee. And let me know if you're a Bucks fan. So yeah, I usually wear an apron. I have to wear that. I get my tablet out. I put my painting. I start to think about what I'm gonna do with the painting. So it actually takes some time to get ready just to begin. So to get the best out of that time, I usually spend minimum 2 hours painting. The most I've done in a single session is about 7 hours, but I always end up fried at the end of that. I don't, my head hurts sometimes, or sometimes I'm feeling just really tired. So I usually try not to do that unless I'm learning something or I'm tight on time to do a painting. But I think the sweet spot for me is about 3 hours per painting, and I take a little break here and there every 40 minutes. I look at my painting, take a sip of coffee. I just made myself a cup of coffee, so you might see me take a sip while I do this. And yeah, that's where I left off with the last painting. That's Cantinflas. The last time I recorded myself, that's where I ended. Today I'm just going to see what I can do in an hour and a half or so. I'm not going to record myself for the whole time doing it, and I'm going to try not to make these videos too long, but there's always really fun things to talk about, new things to talk about, like these brushes that I just bought. I needed soft haired brushes, and these are what is called taklon by the brand Utrecht. I think that's how you pronounce that, Utrecht. White nylon sable. So I'm not affiliated with this brand or anything. I just needed brushes, and as you see, a lot of my brushes are bristle brush, and there's some old ones. And oh, by the way, this is an Italian store here in Milwaukee that sells really good food. So I'm always looking for different jars to hold my brushes, and I just actually found my new brush holder. It's gonna be this coffee, instant coffee thing, perfect for holding brushes. So I'm using these things all the time, looking for something to hold my brushes and keep them organized. So hopefully I can separate my brushes as I get more. Right now it's easy to pinpoint what type of brushes I need. I don't need to organize them, I just look at them. So I bought different sizes. There are 4 numbers apart, so it's just 20, 16, 12, 8, and 4, right? So they would go in this order, from wide to thin. And they are all flat brushes. The edge is flat, so I haven't tried them. We'll see how they work. I'm going to try them. I usually try to work with only a few. I don't know what's gonna happen. I doubt I'm gonna use a detail brush. I might use not the super wide brush, so I think I'll stay with these 3 brushes to work throughout this painting. And generally I might be using, when I work on the face, this one, number 8. But I don't care too much about the number and all that. I just look at the size I need and I grab it, right? So right now I already got my oil. This is 50% linseed oil and mineral spirits, and I put it here on my container. That's gonna be my medium for painting. I got my paints laid out, and I just bought this new paint is called Naples yellow by Winsor and Newton. And this Naples yellow is like a nice combination of yellow with white. So it's really nice for skin colors, right? That's something I discovered not too long ago, the Naples yellow, and I haven't tried it. It's the first time I'm gonna use it. I put it on my palette, but I can tell already it's going to save me some time mixing yellow ochre with white to get this tone of yellow. So I have this, and here's my rag. And yeah, so when I begin the painting, before I start, I usually step back. So that's why maybe my voice sounds different back here. And I take a look and I think, what do I want to work on? What might make the biggest improvement? What maybe needs correction? Here, it's very early, so there's a lot of things I can work on. So the painting itself generally needs work. So the first thing I will be doing is oiling out the paint and the painting. So actually, I take my work back and I'll get my white brush and I'll just dip it in a little bit of linseed oil with mineral spirits, and oiling out meaning just covering it with some oil to get started, so that the surface of the painting the canvas is slick, ready to go, and helps with the brush gliding and moving the paint faster. So this is called oiling out. And I'm going to work on it in general, I think. So I'm just gonna give it a quick coat, side to side, up and down. And it helps to not do too much, just a little bit. And as you do this, you're gonna see it starts to look glossy. And also the colors start to pop out more. It becomes more saturated. So I just do a quick one like that, oiling out, side to side, up and down, and just get it in the place. If I was to only work on the face, I would only do it on the face, but today I think I might end up working on all of it. I don't know, I just decided to do the whole thing, so I don't have to think about that. So there, it picks up some pigments, so you have to be careful. And maybe that's as much as I will use this large brush today. So I already got it dirty, I'll have to wash it. I always wash my brushes, clean my brushes after I'm done. So, yep, going back over here to my friend, that number 8 flat brush. I just need to start and get the ball rolling. So always beginning, it's a little tricky to decide where, but I'm looking at the eye right here, this area. Generally the eyes, I didn't work on them too much. So I don't waste too much time. I'm just going to dive in right away into working on the eye. So I'll be grabbing a little bit of this, looks like the Naples yellow. So grabbing some of that and a touch of orange maybe to make it a little stronger. Oh, that's too strong. and that's how you start. You just go for it. I see some red, so I'm gonna grab a little red. And I always start very careful, and then as I go, I kind of loosen up. So here we go, let's see what happens. Just going to start with the eye. Generally here, get to fill up the color in here. So no, the first brush stroke is the one that's going to tell me if it's a good color I mixed. And I don't mix too much when I paint, but for some reason when I start, I like to mix a little bit, so I don't start too way off. So that's just my style, right? So that's better. I just added a little red to it, and there we go. We begin, and we take it from there. So generally, I've been uploading videos like this lately. Some of you have been watching them, and I really appreciate your engagement, right? That you say hello. I've actually been surprised by the type of people. I mean, not the type, but who is watching. Like sometimes I think, oh, that's funny that this person, I didn't know they like to see videos of me painting, right? And they will send me a message, a person that I haven't really been in contact with in a long time, and they'll tell me, "Oh, your videos are very nice. I really enjoy them. Thank you." So to all of those people who have been in touch with me and have said hello and watched my videos, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I've been growing my channel, and I've been getting more subscribers little by little, and it's really inspiring, right, to continue painting and sharing my painting process with anyone who is interested to see what I do. So here I'm just kind of generally filling up some space, I would say, from the underpainting from before. And yeah, the beginning can be a little bit rough sometimes for me. Like I don't feel comfortable. I'm trying to loosen up. It's just like when you start working out, right? Like when you go to the gym and start working out, sometimes in the beginning, when you begin running, you might feel, oh man, I'm tired, right? But then you run a little more and you get used to it, and then you enjoy it. You get into the flow of things. So that's how it is for me when I paint. The beginning is always a little rough, but it doesn't matter. That's okay, because I already know. I've done it quite a few times that as I do it, my hand will begin to loosen up a little bit. So I'm thinking about that already. Loosen up the hand. Maybe my values here are not the best. Maybe the color I'm choosing is not the best. But we do it as we go, right? And hopefully once I'm happy with this painting, I will sell it, right? And if you're watching, then let me know if there's any painting you think I should do. And I've been really focusing on portraits lately. I've done different types of paintings, right? But if there's a specific portrait you think might be fun to paint and sell, let me know, right? And I also have a few in the back of my mind that I want to paint, but I'm always interested to know what you like. Some good ideas out there. And so that would be really nice if you can tell me about maybe a famous person you like, or an inspiration to you, right? Anything like that is always welcome. Your feedback is always welcome. So you might hear my voice sounds a little different. I'm not sick. I just have allergies because the fall season is here, and usually when the tree leaves start to fall, I get a little raspy when I talk. So bear with me here. So I am a few subscribers away from being able to do a live stream, which is something I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if when I do it, anyone will join, but regardless, I'll be doing them. And if you join while I'm live streaming, then you can always say hi and talk with me as I paint. Not always necessary have to talk about painting, right? Okay, so just trying to add here. I'm going to grab a few values of the skin tone. Some light values, like here maybe, in the middle of the eye. Now that looks a little too yellow to me. This is Naples yellow from the tube right here. But it's not that bad actually. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm going to look for those kind of light areas, and to get them successfully, we have to, maybe to make it less yellow, I'll add a touch of crimson or red, just so it doesn't stand out as it looks too yellow. And put it here. So I need to grab more. When it doesn't come on the canvas very clearly, I just grab a bigger blob and smear it pretty much. The part of the eye inside is like the yellow, Naples yellow, but similar to the skin tone. So it's not necessarily white. That's a big mistake that even I do sometimes, and I try to not do. But the inside of the eye has to be yellowish or bluish, but never white. Never straight up white. So I'm just gonna add some parts here where I see, working on the eye, working on the highlights and the bottom eyelid. And maybe you think I'm being too specific with what I'm doing. Okay. Maybe you think it's fine. I don't know. Give me your feedback. How do you do portraits? Do you focus a lot, even though it's not in the small details from the very early stage? Or do you really end up focusing on that until the end? I go back and forth between both of them. Detail and then big picture. So I'm not liking this color, how it's looking there. I think this is too white. So I need to grab a little more orange. Maybe yellow ochre is better, less strong than the orange. And let's see, I'm just not getting the right tone. I think this is better here. So the teeth need work too, and generally everything needs work. But I'll just take it little by little, right? And I think what I'll do, now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm just going to work on the dark parts of the face for a little bit, and then move on to the light parts. So right now I have some light paint on my brush, so I'm just going to use that to somewhat, yeah. So actually going to the middle tone is not a bad idea. So let's try to find that middle tone. So the middle tone would be something like here, I guess, like the cheek. This tone, this color here, is not too dark, not too light. And I'm really trying to maybe put a lot more paint on the canvas, so that once there's a lot of paint there, I can start moving the paint, right? When there's a lot of paint, easier to blend and move the paint around, in my opinion. So yep, it's too orange, so I'm looking to trying to find that tone that I say, okay, that is good. So you might notice I'm not the expert color mixer, but I mix until I get the color that I like, and once I find it, then I move on, right? So obviously the more experience you have, the faster you get at finding the color, the tone, the hue that you desire. Okay, so I don't want to be too tight here, so I'm just going to work. Mm-hmm. I don't know how long I should make my videos. Sometimes the time flies and I see I made a 1 hour video and I don't know if people are interested in seeing me talk and paint for so long. It's just that when I paint, the time flies faster, so I don't necessarily notice how long it's been when I'm painting. So let me know what you think, right? If you enjoy the long form video, I bet there's different types of opinions, because if you really care about painting, then you might watch longer than somebody who just wants to see what I'm doing, right? So either way, I'm just going to try not to make these videos extremely long, and I've been converting them into shorts, right? So that way you can get doses of the information that I talk about while I paint. So you don't have to sit there and watch the whole thing. But yeah, so I'm getting closer to what I'm looking for here. I need to grab more paint. I'm just being a little careful. And, but here I'm working on the reddish pinkish parts of the painting. And I'm really keeping in my mind right now to not, I hear my professor's voice saying, watch out for the edges, don't do edges, watch out with the edges. There's no edges in natural beings, in nature. Don't do edges, be careful. So as I paint, I'm trying not to create boundaries between parts of the face, like the nose and other parts, right? So we'll see how that goes. I always catch myself doing an edge without noticing, without thinking. So that's part of what I focus on, trying to improve that. So I feel like I'm squinting right now because I'm looking for those parts that are dark, really dark, and the parts that are less dark, right? So I'm gonna move on from the skin. Come back to it in a second. I'm gonna go to the dark parts now. So no black at all. I was really annoyed with this part here the other day because it looked too gray for me. So I'm just going to give it a quick run with some brown. And take it easy. I will not call this done, this painting, until I feel like I'm proud of it, until I feel like it looks as good as I want it to look. Obviously, you can always keep working on it and you will always see your mistakes. Other people will not see them, but you will always see that brush stroke or that weird shape that you did one day, or that brush hair that got dry in the paint. And some people don't even care about that. It's just you who notices these things. So even though I see things that could be better, there's a point where I say, that's it, I'm done, I'm happy, let's move on. And that is important, to move on. Move on. If I sell the painting, even better, because then I don't stare at it every single day and then keep thinking about how I can improve it. So I think that's what they call the artist curse, right? The artist curse, when you can catch your flaws, and it's very self-centered. It's not, people don't really see what you see. So it doesn't matter your level, you're always going to find things that could be better. Same with music. So that's what they call the artist curse. So that is inevitable, and we have to recognize that. Okay, and um, be okay with that. Don't let it get to you. Just keep going, have fun, and that will keep you painting in the long run. All right, so the eye needs more dark generally. Okay, the eye has a lot of highlights. It has 3 highlights. I can see when they took his picture, wherever it was, there were 3 lights on his face, because I can see 3 spotlights on his eye, to the left of the eye, of the iris. So, yeah, poor Cantinflas, he must have been feeling really hot when they were taking that picture. Mm-hmm. When I was a little kid, Cantinflas died in 1992, I believe, and I used to live in Mexico, and I would drive, well, my dad would drive down the street downtown where his office was, and sometimes Cantinflas was such a big influence that there were people that would dress up as Cantinflas and walk around the street acting like him, like impersonators. And they would talk like him, say his jokes. So he had a lot of influence, kind of like Elvis Presley in the US. You know how there's still people that like to dress like Elvis Presley and sing his songs, and they somewhat look like him, even though some people age and then they look like older Elvis Presley. But there were people like that in Mexico, impersonators of Cantinflas, and I remember I used to believe it was him that walked down the street. So for some time when I was a kid, I thought he lived where I grew up in Juarez, Chihuahua. And I was always like looking for Waldo. Every time my dad was driving down the street, I was always looking for Cantinflas, the guy who would impersonate him. And so when I spotted him, he always was dressed like this, with this little thing, what's it called? I'm blanking on the name of that thing. A vest, with a vest and the little hat. And he was very famous for walking with the pants really low, like falling. It made him look more silly. And he always had like a shirt tucked under his pants, so it looked like he had short legs and a long torso, but that was part of his look, right? And his character. So yeah, that's just a little story of how Cantinflas impacted my life growing up. And I still remember like yesterday that how I used to look for him on the street. Who knows what happened to that person? And I think one time I was thinking I saw that person that impersonates him, and it turned out to be a drunk person walking down the street. I was just too little to recognize. But Cantinflas himself, Mario Moreno, was a really nice looking man. Like when he dressed up for pictures, interviews, or he was very charismatic and a good looking guy. Everyone loved him. So yeah, you can see it maybe in this expression. It's a very good idea of his personality, seeing him smiling like that. because there's actors that look really nice and then you hear very bad things about them. But not to my knowledge, not him. I don't know. I hope not. But yeah, it's a little bit on Cantinflas. Alright, so when I get tired of working in one part, I move on to another part and later come back. Right? Okay. So far the brush is feeling nice. I don't I don't have bad things to say. I mean, it's just a brush. Some people I know are very special about the brush, like what brush you should use and how it should feel and how expensive and all that. But my teacher always used to tell me any brush will do. Any brush does the job. So I feel kind of like that. A brush is a brush, and if you use it well, then it works nice. Um, but so far, yes, this is the type of brush I was looking for. And it's very soft, so that it is not, it blends a little easier. Not too strong with the blending. And here I'm just seeing a lot of dark, right? A lot of dark needed here. And I'm just trying to blend the hat. I see some blue. I didn't get this blue out. This is cerulean blue. And I always have the blue. Actually, yeah, I can use the blue. So I'm just gonna put a little drop of blue there. And I see blue in some parts, but I'm not going to use it yet. I just put it there for later because I have brown in my brush and black. Very dark over here. All of this section, very dark. Sometimes when I paint, it feels like my mind gets a little bit impatient, and I start to feel like, man, I'm spending time here and I don't see a big difference. I'm working in very small parts and not the biggest things that could make a big difference, right? But it feels like that, and then suddenly, like after I take a picture of my progress, I see how much it improved in one session. So I just trust the process. Trust the process that it's going to be better every time. Hopefully. There is a way to make it worse, but if you are careful, then it should only get better. Okay? So, I will not be painting for a while meaning a week or so, because I'll be traveling to have a little vacation with my family soon. So yeah, I'll continue this. In the meantime, I'm just gonna post some shorts and have you look at them if you're interested. Oh, too gray. If you're interested, then you can check them out. I'll be posting them. I have them scheduled to post, and through the help of my friend, he's taught me a lot about how to use YouTube. His name is John Reese. He has a really nice YouTube channel, John Reese Guitar, Jone Guitar, John Reese Ruiz Guitar. And he records music playing like video game music for guitar arrangements and reacting to different videos of music. So if John, if you're listening, then hello and thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the ear because I'm enjoying working on the ear, so I'm going to go back there. So I'm just going to work on a little bit more details, not too much details. Uh-huh. Yeah, this Naples yellow, I just grabbed some pure Naples yellow, so I see some right here. But honestly, it needs red. It looks too yellow. So the conclusion is that I don't see straight Naples yellow in many parts of the painting, so I have to mix different tones of different paint, red and yellow, to get the tones that I look for. Yeah, it's like Naples yellow. I'm experimenting with it, so that's why you see me maybe struggling a little bit with it, because I'm still getting to know this color. Once I get it in my head, once I know how it looks in my head, which I mean, it looks, I can see how it looks already, but later, as soon as I see it, I know I need it. Right now, I'm still not very used to it, but it's a nice color for sure to keep. So from now forward, I'm going to be buying Naples yellow. Has to be, I have to be careful because it looks a little chalky, and I don't like the chalky paintings. So I'm just going to cover it up a little bit with red. There's red here, pink. And that brings me to the, as I work on the edge of this ear, I remember how I was having a debate whether to paint the background this color that I see, or to leave it this sort of raw umber look. I kind of like it. I just don't know what I should do yet. So I need to think about that a little bit more. The eyes, generally, the mouth needs work. This whole side needs work. So I'm just going to lay down this brown. There's an edge here I just saw, so trying to get rid of that edge while not blending too much, which I'm trying not to do. I'm gonna go back down here. To me that just looks really dark, but I don't want to use black. So I'm just going to go with some blue. Some ultramarine blue. Let's see what happens. Cool down, cool down. It's kind of cool there, but I don't know. Okay, so back to the skin, because I really want to work on these pinkish parts of the skin. So I'm going to grab again Naples yellow, and I think it needs a little crimson. The crimson has to be careful because it's very strong. And maybe a little more, that looks better. A touch of blue. Trying to find the color that I'm looking for here. It's like a pinkish reddish, yep. Something like that. Okay, so when I find the part where I don't have sense, like here I don't understand very well what's going on, I start to work on it more, because it looks like a mess right there. It looks like it needs a lot of attention. So here, all of this neck part need to be defined better. So I see. Okay. Okay. So it's getting too purple. And like that, my painting process is not the most perfect process, but I just do my best until I find what I like. And once I do that, I learn. So here there's an edge that is not good, and might as well, since I have some red on my paint, on my pencil, not a pencil, on my brush, I'm taking advantage and looking for those parts that need red, which is most parts. A lot of red. I don't know if maybe when I do the background it's going to look less intense, but to me it's looking really pink, which is not bad, but just makes me wonder if that's the color I'm looking for. Okay, so we'll see. I see some there. A lot of it pink. The lady I was working on, I left it in a stage where my previous video, she looks kind of like a zombie because she's very pale and green. She's pale, green, red, purple, looks like a bruised up lady. So it doesn't look the most beautiful to me, but it's still very early as well on the development, and I don't usually just jump around painting one thing to the next without finishing, but for, like I said, I'm taking a course. That's what I have to do every week. I have to be painting something different and then continue working on it on my own later. So I think not a big difference. But yeah, I still have a good 45 minutes left to work on this painting. So I'm going to stop recording there, and yeah, I'll be uploading my progress with time, and every time I work on this, I'll record a little bit of my recording session. So hope you have a good day. Bye bye. See you next time.